Hey there. I just made a contest entry video and actually forgot to put Django Unchained in my top 10 list of 2012, which is pretty sad. And the need for caffeine was apparent. How much was the need for caffeine apparent? This is my second time making this video because on my iPad, the YouTube limit is 15 minutes. So I did it. I thought I had a good job done in this video. And it went 15 minutes and 29 seconds. Had to delete it and start over. Yeah. Seriously. Anyway, last night I did a retrospective on parts 4, 5, Curse, and H2O. I thought we couldn't go without actually getting into the last film. It's in the original Halloween series, and that's Halloween Resurrection. Before I get into any further, a lot of people, myself included, really hated the Rob Zombie's take on the Halloween franchise. As I would suggest that if you're one of those people, go out and read to your local comic shop and get some of the Halloween comic books that follow this timeline and do an incredibly creepy job. And you'll be wishing that those comics were movies because they're much better than the later stuff that came out, including the film that I'm about to talk about, Halloween Resurrection. Now, with Halloween Resurrection, Jamie Lee Curtis had pretty much given up on the Laurie Strode character, but thankfully she was kind enough to agree to come back to film an ending for her character. Now, she wanted it to be a definitive ending, so what we get is 3 years later in an asylum. This is where she's at right now. Her son is not talked about anymore, and not even really alluded to. It would have been nice to see him show up, but you know, I'm guessing they had hoped that that could be done for a future film, which did not happen. But Michael returns, and basically he finds her in the asylum, and she takes him down. She manages to trap Michael. She's been pretending to be drugged all these months. She knows Michael's coming. She's not insane. She's ready for him. She has an incredible amount of guilt for lopping off the wrong head because Michael had put the mask on somebody else, an EMT, and crushed his larynx so he couldn't speak, which honestly was pretty close to what I thought was going to happen with the Halloween series. So some people bitched about that and thought, oh, well, they went back and they changed, and oh, that couldn't happen. No. I watched the movie. You can see it in H2O. You can actually tell that if you have watched a Halloween movie, you've been watching more than 2 Halloween sequels, you know Michael Myers is not dying. If you've seen one interview with Mustafa Akkad, you know there's no way he's killing off the character of Michael Myers, no matter who comes back for it. So, and there are sequences at the end of H2O that lead you to think that, hey, this may not be Michael Myers whose head she's chopping off. Go back and watch it, it's there. Halloween Resurrection, however, is another story. We get to see Jamie Lee Curtis's character of Laurie Strode's final fight with Myers. Her conflicting feelings about having killed the wrong man leads her to a fateful. She has to she has to make sure she can't have any doubts. She can't kill off another innocent person, and in the end, it causes her demise. It's actually a pretty cool scene. It's a fairly touching scene, and she's not exactly shown dead afterwards, so it's a pretty open scene. So if they'd wanted to bring her back, they could have found a way to do it, and actually fairly easily. And I'm guessing that's why it was shot in that way, even though Jamie Lee Curtis was pretty adamant on not coming back again. You never totally closed that door. They made that mistake before with Halloween 4, remember? So we go to basically afterwards, and we hit a college. Rick Rosenthal, the director, who's also directed Halloween 2, by the way, is back in the director's chair in this one. He had become a pretty prolific TV director as well, same as Steve Miner had. And we get to see him actually in a cameo at the beginning of the movie as a college professor. And the film basically follows Sarah and a bunch of others, Rudy, Bill, that have been selected by a reality program called Dangertainment. And Dangertainment is like a reality program that's gone for the internet. So it's ahead of its time in thinking that way. It's very it's being shown online. They're going to go into the Myers house. They got to stay there all night, and they can win. I think they can win money, and get some publicity and stuff like that. And it's pretty much a basic reality show like you'd see nowadays with some of those ghost hunter type things and the Siberia, that type of stuff. But you got Buster Rhymes and Tyra Banks, which are the guys behind Dangertainment, and they've gone in and they've put like kind of freaky stuff that really doesn't make sense for Michael Myers' character, like twisted, like another part to the house that he was unaware of before, and which I assume was put in by them. I got to, because it makes no sense any other way, and like a chair, like a feeding chair with straps and stuff on it. He has some pretty crazy ass stuff. Buster Rhymes actually comes in dressed up as Michael in one scene to scare the people away, so they're not going to make the money, they're not going to stay the whole night. And he actually runs into Michael, and it's a comical scene. Some people have problems with it, but I didn't mind it. What I did love, and I'm going to say this right now before I go any further, there's a sequence with the cameraman when he's setting up cameras at the beginning of the film. This film, even with all its flaws, is about society's voyeurism and society's like look at me mentality. And the first film that really dealt with voyeurism and horror and stuff like that, and bringing yourself into that spot and into that place, was Michael Powell's Peeping Tom. And the death scene of the cameraman at the beginning of the film, well, not right at the beginning, but at the before they go into the Myers house, is very reminiscent of scenes from Peeping Tom. And if you watch the movie and you've seen Michael Powell's Peeping Tom, you'll get the reference. And not a lot of people talk about that when they talk about this film. They usually just dwell on all the negatives. But I wanted to get that one positive thing out there another way, because I think it's one really cool aspects of the film that I wish I would have seen more of things like that. And it was a great scene, and I respected it and loved it for what it was. Rick Rosenthal is definitely not a hack director. He does know what he's doing, but there was a lot of complications behind the films, and the script is just not strong. It is, actually it's very weak. We have a scene where the girl's in the house, and they know that she's being chased by Myers, and people have been killed in the house, so the guy that's been watching prefers to text her rather than call the police and the FBI and get people, or get in his car and with a gun just go up there himself and maybe do something about it. It's supposed to be kind of an audience interactive scene of like where it's kind of letting us know where our entertainment is going if we keep in this direction. And I get the black humor of it, which I think is lost on a lot of people, unfortunately. Halloween Resurrection is not a good film. It is severely flawed. There are some glaring plot inconsistencies. The acting is okay. We get Brad Lorry as Michael Myers, and he does a good job. Buster Rhymes is Freddie Harris, and Tyra Banks is Nora Winston. We get Katie Sackhoff, who you guys will know from more than likely if you watch the TV series Battlestar Galactica, then you'll know her from that. Sean Patrick Thomas, who was becoming a big up-and-coming actor at the time, and of course Thomas Ian Nichols, who had done the American Pie films. There are other actors in this film, Luke Kirby, and the main actor is Bianca Kajlik, I think I pronounced it right, and she doesn't do a bad job. Unfortunately, she didn't know how to scream, so her scream had to be put in by somebody else. I think the movie blew out. The film itself has some serious problems, but overall it's a fun film. It's not a good film, but you can watch it, and you will probably watch it more than once. Getting to the scene that people talk about a lot, Buster Rhymes does his like karate kung fu on Michael Myers in a sequence in the film. It's probably one of the most bitched about sequences in horror and in the franchise of Halloween in particular. If I was about to be attacked by a serial killer with a knife and a mask and a penchant for killing everybody that comes in his way, I would use anything, any means necessary to try and save myself. It was nice to see a character that did not just immediately become some expendable or rag doll, like and just stand there and get ready to die or run and get stabbed. I actually applauded the Busta Rhymes character for the cheesy assness in that movie. He did something different. He actually fought Michael Myers. We hadn't seen a lot of that in the films. It was kind of cool to see one of the, you know, we always had the final girl and stuff like that, so it was kind of cool to see Busta Rhymes' character actually do something that not a lot of people actually ended up liking it. But I think that, you know, if you are faced with a serial killer, you're not going to stand there, hopefully, and let yourself get stabbed a dozen times, or just watch while people like... Anyway, Busta Rhymes, honestly, he gets a bad rap for the film. He did his job. He did the job he was supposed to do, and he did a good job of it. He has a comical character that is, in many ways, comedic relief. His character does what his character would have done. If you look at the Busta Rhymes character and you don't think that he's going to try to use some type of kung fu type thing to go after Myers, then you really don't understand the character that Busta Rhymes is playing. And you don't get the tongue-in-cheek aspect of it as well. Much of this film was done fairly tongue-in-cheek, and some people kind of forget that. Halloween Resurrection, good film? No. Bad as you think? No. There are worse films. Rob Zombie would make 2 of them. And well, if you want to keep following the Halloween films after this, go out and buy the comics. Seriously, they're really, really good, really dark, and actually scary. Halloween Resurrection. My rating on it? Just watch it. Have fun with it. This is not a 1 out of 10 rating review thing. This is a retrospective review on the films themselves and what went on behind the scenes. Little known fact, Danielle Harris was apparently one of the thoughts to bring back for this film as well, because they actually cut off the bloodline, and Josh Hartnett wasn't back, so Danielle Harris was thought of along the lines of coming back, and there were some other people that were talked about as well, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Dwight H. Little was once attached to Halloween Resurrection, and ultimately he passed on it, which is quite a shame, because he did part 4 of Halloween, with one of my favorite sequels, and I would like to have seen what he could do with Resurrection. Richard Rosenthal overall did a decent job with a very bad script. I'm not sure if he had anything to do with the writing of the script. I wonder if it'll show me here. Let us IMDb this right now before I go on and see if we can get the writer of Halloween Resurrection. I know Rick Rosenthal originally wanted to make the movie much more interactive for the audience, and they kind of like nixed that. So, Larry Brand is the writer for H2O, and in case you're wondering who Larry Brand is, he's done a few movies over the years and TV shows like The Fall Guy and stuff like that, but nothing that has really come out. But he was obviously, from the looks of it, he was a fan of the Myers character, and I applaud him for that. But overall, the movie didn't turn out as well as it should have. Halloween Resurrection. Check it out yourself. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below. Do a video response. I love hearing those things. And let me know what you think of the Halloween films. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite? How do you think Rob Zombie should be butt raped for what he did to the films? Or is that going a little bit too far? Right now, it's time for tea, and thank God I'm not going to have to do this video a 3rd time.